Let's go back to politics now. For some analysis, you'll know before we went to Panyaza Lesofi's briefing, we were listening to ActionSA. They had a media briefing. Let's speak now to Political Analyst Sandile Swana from the Wits School of Governance. In case you missed it, ActionSA introducing the former DA Midvaal mayor, that's Bongani Baloyi, as its newest member. So Sandile Swana, thank you for your time. Just your overall take. It's a big coup for ActionSA, is it not?
Yes, it's a positive story also for the future young politicians who are coming up, because this one is probably the gold standard of superior performance in how a municipality should be run. Midvaal municipality, where Baloyi was working as a mayor for 10 years, was one of the top performing municipalities in terms of investments, in terms of getting clean audits. So to get a person of that caliber who's got no controversies but who's got superior technical excellence is actually commendable for any political party.
And did you notice there, Sandile Swana, that the conversation swiftly moved, at least on the part of Herman Mashaba, from talking about revealing Bongani Baloyi as the latest member to projecting to 2024 and the possibility of him being the candidate for ActionSA, and basically saying, throw your hat in the ring and go through the primaries and let's see what happens. It's a conversation that's been up in the air for a while, hasn't it, around Bongani Baloyi and ActionSA?
And ActionSA, yes, absolutely. I think I was at the IEC, a Results Operations Center in Pretoria during the local government. And when he spoke there, he said he's now going to prepare for 2024. And it's amazing that he's already on the road. And he knows, and he made it clear that in his view, the premiership of this province, Gauteng, is for the taking. And a person of the caliber of Bongani Baloyi could actually upstage a lot of candidates if the contest comes up. And I think Mashaba wants to take this province. And
just on that, though, the flip side of it, Bongani Baloyi may be an accomplished technocrat in as far as running a local government is concerned. But I wonder about his ability to, descend into the political arena in the truest sense of the word, the hurly-burly of politics. As you and I are talking about 2024, I was just wondering to myself if it was wise for Herman Mashaba to, make that announcement as early as 2022, that he thinks this is someone who should throw his hat into the ring. What with the problems that they started having between themselves, at least in as far as Makosi Khoza is concerned in KwaZulu-Natal. So I'm just wondering, does this put a target, at least politically, on Bongani Baloyi's back, or does it have the potential to at least cause Herman Mashaba some problems in the coming months and the build-up to 2024?
Well, politics is always tricky, but from the perspective of the public, what Mashaba promised at the end of the local government elections is that he's going to start preparing for 2024. It's January now, the elections were in November. He is telling us that I am preparing to take over this province in 2024 through the constitution, through free and fair elections. And I'm putting a candidate, one of the candidates up front for you, high quality candidate. We are going on a strategy session, 3-day strategy session ahead is preparing for that. I think that you must never think that whether you are running a corporation, you are running IBM or SA Breweries, there are politics. There is no industry that does.
All right, Sandile Swana, we lost you there for a moment, but I believe we have you back. I don't know what happened with the connection. You were making the point that there is politics in every industry. Pick up from there, please.
Yes. If you are running the CEO or chairman of SA Breweries, Pick and Pay, or any other organization, IBM, there are politics there. It's well documented. So you can never be a successful leader if you don't know how to manage the politics of your organization and of your industry. So I am then saying, for these years, since the age of 26 until now, he has been in politics and he's been up there in the leadership and one of the best performing in the country. He probably knows how to sort things out and how to control difficult situations, if that is your concern, this Bongani Baloyi.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about, the implications, the implications of what is not said by Bongani Baloyi, at least at the start of the briefing. He said that he's not joining ActionSA out of anger or disappointment, but about the hope that they invoke. But I suppose deductive reasoning would suggest that the DA, which was his former political home, no longer represents that. Would that be a fair reading, that without making the statement, he's actually making it?
He is definitely making the statement, and the bone of contention, I want to believe, is the pro-poor stance, which Mashaba has actually articulated many times over. The DA has got two problems. One is the pro-poor stance and a favorable stance towards black people. They lack that. There's no pronounced, clear, decisive, favorable position on the part of the DA relative to black people generally and Africans in particular.
Right. And of course, the DA, for their part, and I have a responsibility to point that out, they will always argue that in the governments that they run, actually they spend the bulk of their budgets in poorer communities and empowering people through programs such as education. What they don't believe in, they will always say, is the whole system of broad-based black economic empowerment in the way that it's been implemented, and quotas, etc., etc. Discharging my responsibility there to be fair to them in terms of what their position is. Lastly, Sandile Swana, how much does the ANC have to worry about ActionSA, given what happened with the November elections, the impressive performance of ActionSA having contested just 6 municipalities nationally, but now with Herman Mashaba talking about their project for 2024 is to dislodge the ANC. Given the state of the ANC, we heard from them at the end of their Lekgotla over the weekend, and now we're hearing from ActionSA. Should Cyril Ramaphosa and the others in the leadership of the ANC be trembling in their boots?
I think that any politician right now proceeds from the fact that the ANC has a very high probability, maybe above 80% chance of losing Gauteng. So everybody is planning for that. The DA, ActionSA, EFF, and IFP, all of these parties are planning for a new Gauteng, let's put it like that. On the other hand, the ANC knows that it was by a miracle that they survived in the last election. So, and they are very close to losing. So it's in that situation. They are like a heavyweight champion who's been at least on the floor twice. And they're a little bit tired, and they are not offering anything that is tangible and worthy at this point in time. So the next remaining period, they've got to really come up with something concrete. Otherwise, if we look purely at the IEC statistics, they are a corner.
Wow. And I know I said lastly, but let me ask you about the fact that Bongani Baloyi, upon joining ActionSA, immediately ascends to serve on its Senate, which is the highest decision-making body. I guess, again, I'm taking you back to the dynamics, the political dynamics. How long can ActionSA and Herman Mashaba keep up this system before they're actually, required to hold a proper inaugural Congress and set up systems in place such that you don't have a situation where things can turn awry quite quickly, that someone will say people are being parachuted into leadership upon joining?
Well, there is a history here that you and I may not be talking about, that we don't know when the decision that these two fellows made to join each other. We don't know the date. We don't know whether Bongani Baloyi might have been even one of the founding members of this ActionSA, etc. Because we remember that there was a big ruction in the DA. These are homeboys in terms of coming from the DA, both of them. So they know a lot more than you and me about what has happened and how this thing was structured. But I agree with you. if they are serious about preparing for the 2024 election, this year they've got to start getting their constitution and other things into good order, their governance processes into good order.
Yeah, I agree. All right, thank you for that. Sandile Swana weighing in there on the media briefing by ActionSA and the announcement there of Bongani Baloyi as the party's newest member. He immediately joins the Senate, which is the highest decision-making body in ActionSA.